100th trophy success, how Egypt's Al Ahly celebrated their centenary in style. How's that? We look at China's plans for world cricket and the world's most chilled cycle race.
Yes, this feather's gonna give me wings, an ostrich. It's an ostrich feather.
In a place that was once anything but. Welcome to Sportsworld, Al Jazeera's regular look at sport around the globe. I'm Rahul Pathak, and in this special edition, we're bringing you some of your favourite reports from 2007. Now, Egypt's Al Ahly football team celebrated their centenary year in 2007 by winning their 100th major title. Now, Al Ahly is the most popular and successful team in the Arab world, with a fan base in the tens of millions. But the club is about more than just sport, as Andy Richardson now reports.
Welcome to the Egyptian Museum, which is considered to be one of the oldest museums in all over the world.
For centuries, the history of ancient Egypt has attracted millions of tourists to this North African country and to its capital, Cairo. But away from the tour groups and their cameras, there's a modern history in the making that's a little more animated than the type on offer here. It's the story of a football team called Al Ahly, and this is their centenary year. It's a date their fans aren't allowing to pass quietly.
Al Ahly translates into English as the national, and they've become known as the people's football team, the first club solely for Egyptians. 100 years on, and they're the best supported and most successful side in the Arab world. If you're looking for the heartbeat of Al Ahly, you'll find it right here on the streets of Cairo.
The city is chaotic and colourful enough in its own right. But an Ali match day adds a barely contained hysteria to the mix.
This is Egypt. This is a team of Egypt.
Ahly, كل حاجة. Everything, yeah.
I love it. Ahly is our club.
Ahly in our heart, all Egyptians. Ahly in our heart.
This is the current side that bears the responsibility of satisfying the demands of a fan base that's in excess of 50 million people. Even their training sessions are well-attended events. This is a club where success isn't so much hoped for as expected.
This is not a club, it's a country. You understand? I think that our supporters, they are fantastic with our team, with all of us. And they deserve this.
Every game you have to win, every game you have to doing a good performance, you have to get all the champion which you are going to participate in. Of course this put us under pressure, but I think this is enjoyable, you know.
Here in the big club, when you sign the contract, you know, you must work with a big pressure, you must win competition. This is normal, but they are fantastic. Good or bad, they are always with us.
The inner sanctum of the club reveals the extent of its history and success. Founded in 1907, its aim was to be not just a centre of sporting excellence, but also of national pride. Egypt was administered by Britain at the time. Al Ahly, though, very quickly became a club open to Egyptians only. Every victory would be an Egyptian one.
This trophy room is much more than just an excuse to show off the spoils of success. For a club created under a nationalistic banner at a time when the country was under British rule, each trophy is a vindication of the ideals that inspired the creation of this team a century ago.
For 100 years, it represents some sort of a national pride, some sort of independence, and of the ability to differentiate between to be patriotic but not political, and to be totally independent, and to continue in a very democratic way, and to represent the ability to manage and to work as a team.
But neither nationalism nor passion alone will keep a trophy security guard in a job. Dozens of domestic and continental titles have been won by generations of great players. There have been few better than Mustafa Yunus, the first captain to lift the African Champions League trophy back in 1982.
Ahli is about more than just sport. It was the first national team that was established to fight against the British occupation. That's why it is so popular. The club has taught us everything about life, not just football, about how we should respect ourselves and our opponents. Football is not simply about winning and losing games.
The current team are also the reigning African champions, but these players know only too well they're just transient keepers of the Ali tradition, links in the chain of the club's history.
The club is a kind of organization, not only in sports for these people outside. It's a team for everything, a team for, you know, the people outside don't have anything to do but love Al-Ahli.
To celebrate their centenary, the club invited Barcelona to Egypt for a friendly match. Cairo's 80,000 capacity international stadium was full 5 hours before kick-off. The game itself didn't quite go according to plan. The Spanish side won 4-0. But for this set of fans, such setbacks can easily be put into context. Hussein is just one supporter who rarely misses a training session, never mind a match.
Ahli's history is well known, and it's one that exceeds even Barcelona's when it comes to winning titles. I believe we are better than them. This year we will clinch our 100th trophy, and no other club in the world has done that. No other team is idealized in the way Ahli is.
So while the headlines of this 100th year are likely to be dominated by big events and famous names, it's up in the stands, among the less well-known faces, where the enduring spirit of this club's history lives. Andy Richardson, Al Jazeera, Egypt.
Now, it's been a strange year for cricket. The World Cup in the Caribbean was criticised for failing to attract big crowds, whereas the World 2020 Championships were a resounding success. Now, 2007 also saw the game's world governing body trying to invigorate the sport with an injection of new talent from a rather unexpected source. The Chinese Cricket Association have announced grand plans, including a fully functioning national league and a credible international side. Al Jazeera's Beijing correspondent Tony Cheng has more.
The Middle Kingdom, China, and the Great Wall that kept the barbarians out for so long. But today, in the 21st century, China's sucking up inspiration from all over the world. The latest foreign fad to hit China is cricket. This match, the first of a new inter-university league between Jiaotong and Tsinghua universities. But while the level of play isn't that high, there's certainly some expectation that China will make a splash on the global cricketing stage in its own unique way.
The Chinese will soon find a ball that no one else has found so far because they have ingenuity on their side, they have diligence. I'm sure they'll create a ball that we in the West Indies or India or Australia haven't really come across. I think there is this element of a magical turn.
Not surprisingly, with a game that's so foreign and new, the Chinese have been relying on imported talent to get them started. Nonetheless, there's no lack of enthusiasm amongst the players and spectators. The bright-coloured uniforms and aggressive stroke play are all part of the strategy to drag a new group of fans to a sport that's often seen as old-fashioned and boring. It's the new 2020 game that's being introduced here. Rapid results and exciting action. The Chinese Cricket Board knows that to succeed it needs to steal support from the enormous fan base that soccer and other global sports enjoy.
When China decides to do something, it does it incredibly quickly and on a massive scale. The Chinese Cricket Association has plans for 15,000 players by 2009 and to increase that to 150,000 within the next 10 years.
I think for all of our non-test playing nations, we ask them to have short-term and long-term goals, and I certainly look at the China project as a step-by-step 20, 30-year project. That's the way that we should be looking at it in terms of trying to create a national team at the higher levels. I think what it's all about now is participation, creating interest for the game and some enthusiasm.
But the real hopes for Chinese cricket success lies in middle schools like this one in Beijing's sprawling suburbs. These are the players of tomorrow, not the pampered university amateurs of today. They practice hard and it's paying off. At last year's Under-15 Asian Cricket Cup in Thailand, they finished 4th. For an hour every day after school, they go through their drills, under the watchful eye of their coach, a former professional footballer.
It's a great sport for us. It's not only good physically, but it's good mentally as well.
I can catch the ball, I can throw the ball. It's fun. It makes me physically tougher.
Cricket's still only in the earliest stages of setting down its roots in China. But the will of the Chinese cricketing authorities seem to be to take China to the highest level of the game. And they have the backing of the international cricketing community. So while China didn't make it to the West Indies, it may well be represented at the South Asian World Cup in 2011. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Well, as ever, you can keep up to date with all the latest sports news on our website. That's aljazeera.net/English. But stay with Sportsworld, because coming up, we'll join hundreds of cyclists to take you on a tour of Soweto.